In Pakistan's Balochistan province, what's unfolding is not just a human rights crisis, it's a calculated campaign of terror. Peaceful activists are being abducted, tortured, and in many cases, killed. Entire communities live in fear as the state targets anyone daring to speak out. The Baloch Yakjehti Committee, despite its peaceful mission, has become a main target of this violent crackdown. With no access for human rights monitors and journalists under threat, these atrocities continue in silence. A report.
A grave human rights emergency is rapidly escalating in Pakistan's troubled province of Balochistan. According to human rights defenders and local civil society groups, the Pakistani state has launched a brutal campaign of repression against the Baloch population, characterized by enforced disappearances, extrajudicial executions, arbitrary detentions, and violent crackdowns on peaceful protests. Over the past 2 months, dozens of civilians have vanished without a trace, only to be discovered later in remote areas, their bodies bearing horrific evidence of torture and abuse. Entire communities now live under a state of siege, where midnight raids, intimidation, and widespread fear have become part of daily life. Witnesses report routine incursions by security forces, systematic harassment of families of the missing, and the targeting of anyone associated with civil rights advocacy.
A severe human rights crisis is unfolding in Balochistan. The Pakistan state has stepped up its violent crackdown against the Baloch people. Over the past 2 months, dozens have been forcibly disappeared or killed. Peaceful protests have been violently crushed, and human rights defenders, along with their families, have been abducted and harassed. From February to April 2025, security forces reportedly abducted, tortured, and executed Baloch civilians in areas such as Mashke, Barkhan, Khuzdar, Turbat Kalat, and Panjgur. Bodies of the missing were later found in remote areas with clear signs of torture.
The Baloch Yakjehti Committee, a peaceful grassroots movement advocating for justice and constitutional rights, has become a primary target of this state-led repression. Despite its non-violent stance, BYC members have faced a relentless campaign of harassment, abductions, and the psychological warfare. Multiple organizers have reportedly been picked up by security forces, subjected to torture during detention, and then released with explicit warnings to abandon their activism or face fatal consequences. Others remain missing to this day.
These actions are part of a coordinated campaign of state-sponsored violence. The Baloch Yakjehti Committee, a peaceful organization fighting for constitutional rights and justice for the victims, has been a key target. Despite its non-violent approach, BYC has been experiencing arrest, harassment, surveillance, smear campaigns, and overt state violence. Following the armed attack on Jafar Express, an incident not connected to BYC, the state falsely linked our peaceful movement to the attack to justify a wider crackdown. However, even before this incident, the state had already begun a violent campaign against BYC. We documented targeted killings, threats to our organizers, and direct intimidation long before the Jaffa incident.
While the Pakistani state claims these operations are part of a national security agenda, the evidence suggests a campaign of political extermination. Human rights organizations are barred from entering many regions, and journalists face bans, threats, and arrests when reporting from Balochistan. As the world watches in silence, a generation of Baloch is being silenced not by war but by a state-sanctioned strategy of fear and repression. The cries for justice echo across Balochistan, but in the face of bullets, silence, and shadows, no one is listening.